Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today we're going to review this fun project we're going to have today, and it's going to be all about using 12-volt fans to cool down my metal shed in the backyard. I've put vents in this thing, and you know what? In the summertime it is far too hot in there. Yes, you can just open the doors, but many times I'm not here. So what do? Do you depend on just the ventilation? I've added ventilation to this shed and it is still too hot. It's over 100 degrees in the summertime. It's just too hot in there. So I'm going to try putting these fans in, solar operated, so there's no electrical hookup. It's just completely self-sustaining itself, and I'm using a 7-watt solar panel. So let's go down here. Let's turn on the power supply, 12-volt power supply. These are 12-volt fans. We're going to see how much amperage or in milliamps does it use, and we're going to see how many of these we can actually hook up to one 7-watt solar panel. Let's start right now. Here we go. We'll just turn on the power supply. Fan starts right up, and it looks like it started at well, almost a quarter of an amp. Now it's starting to drop like usual because of these fans. As they start and wind up, well, they'll just continue. Now you notice I got it set at 12.6. So looks like it's going to stay around maybe 190, 192. We'll just call that 200 milliamps. Well, I'll just let this fan keep on running, and we're down to about maybe 187, 88 milliamps right now. I'll just let it keep on running. So what kind of fans are these? Well, if you take a look at this spec, this is a smaller fan, and this one here is supposed to push around 21 cubic feet per minute. These ones here that I ordered, these Arctic fans, are around 50 cubic feet per minute. So let's just take a look at some math here. We got a 7-watt panel. This is my 7-watt panel right here. And so we got 7 watts divided by 12 volts. So a little bit more than a half an amp. So the fan draws, we're going to say 200 milliamps or 1/5 of an amp. So I figure, okay, so 2 fans would be 400 milliamps, 4.8 watts, or 0.4 amps, which is just under a half an amp. Now, the great thing about these type of fans, they will actually work on lower voltage than 12. And they'll actually work on higher voltage as well. You can't go too high, but I'm going to plug this solar panel up, and there's not going to be anything else except just direct power to these fans. I'm going to put 2 in the shed. That'll be about 100 cubic feet per minute. My shed is 8 by 12 by about 6.5 feet high. So you do the math on that and you can tell, well, it's going to move enough air to draw all the heat out that I think it'll do. And what are we at here? So it looks like it's staying stable about 190 milliamps. So let's get this thing all set up, get the solar panel set up. I'll bring you out and I'll show you exactly everything all hooked up and see if this would work for your metal shed on cooling it down in the summer. Okay, so here we are in front of the shed right now, and you can see that I put 2 vents in there. And if we just take a little bit of a zoom in there, you can see there's the solar panel there. And you know what? It's facing pretty well up. Almost up is just perfect, just enough to have the rain run off it. And I'll take you around the back in a second and show you that. But here's the shed right there, and it is screaming hot. And I put vents on the front here, right straight through, opposite on the other side on the back, the same thing. And right here you can see I've got 1 vent there and 1 vent there. Okay, so let's go around the back and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, there's the setup right there. So easy to do. All you have to do is I just screwed a small 2x4 in here, and then I mounted the 2x6 on the outside, and I'll show you how that was done. And of course the screws were a little bit too long, so I put some nuts on the back side there. And all I did was just use that plywood, and I put 3 good screws right in the center to hold it down, and that's all you really need. I'll bring it around this side here, and I just got the wire going through the back here, and just a couple of clips all the way along to hold it down. So that's pretty easy right there, and I'll take you inside and show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is we have to disarm the security. You could hear the beep going off there. You want to hear what it sounds like, the security alarm? Yeah, that's loud, especially when you try and open them doors and forget to turn the security off. If you want, I'll put a link down below, and you can check out how you can put a security alarm on your steel shed too. It's very easy. Okay, so let's go inside. Well, there you are right there. I just finished installing it all, and it was cloudy when I first hooked everything up, but the sun's out now. But of course the fans were running even when it's cloudy, so it doesn't take, you know, that much sunlight for them to run. And get you close here, see if you could hear it. Yeah, they're running full blast. And all I did was, there's not very much light in here, but all I did was take this fan and the other fan and run the wires together. I just got a butt connector that attaches everything together right to the solar panel, and it's wired directly. So that will go on when it's sunny, or actually it actually went on not bad when it was cloudy. So yeah, so there's about 100 CFM it'll push through there. Now let me just explain something back in the shop here for a second before you wrap this up. Well, these particular style of fans, these 12 volt DC, they're quite comparable to the same type of fans that you would see in your computer. They run all the time, and you get thousands and thousands of hours of use out of one of these. They come in different voltages depending on where you are in the world. Now this here, I bought a 5-pack, cost me $5 a fan. The solar panel, well, I bought them on sale, but you can usually pick up a 7-watt solar panel for like under $20. Now I'm going to let you know throughout the year how I've made out on the lowering of the temperature, and I believe it is going to work at 100 CFM. Now the main thing was the heat buildup inside of that shed at just over 600 cubic feet. Well, you'd think it would take 6 hours to move all the air out of that particular shed, but not exactly, because them fans are going to be operating as the temperature comes up during the day. From the first thing in the morning when the sun comes up, them fans will go on, and they will stay on until it gets dark. There's no switches, there's no nothing. It just runs strictly DC right off the solar panel. And I think that's terrific. I didn't have to wire it into any electrical outlet, have a transformer, or get 120 volt fans that draw electricity. And of course your electrical bill goes up when you're doing stuff like that, right? So this here is the first initial cost. I would say the average person should be able to set this up for under $40. And the wood, I had scrap pieces and screws and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's a great investment, especially if you want to store things in your metal shed that, well, can be damaged by the excessive heat during the summertime. And that will run during the wintertime as well, because what I've noticed in the wintertime, if there's no snow on the top of the metal shed, I'll get condensation inside when the sunlight hits that metal shed. So this here, it'll take the heat out even in the middle of the winter. So thanks for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a solar experiment. And I'll put a link down below if you want to see how to put your own security alarm, low cost, wireless, inside your metal shed. A lot of people don't have security alarms. These ones are real easy to install. Anybody could do it. Okay, so you guys come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. And we're going to have some more fun in the future. Cheers.